Hey, and welcome back to my channel. So obviously it's the mindfulness journey. I talk about mindfulness, I talk about meditation a lot. But today I just kind of wanted to talk to you about why I meditate, right? Like this is why I meditate. Because I meditate because I've been through a lot. I live with anxiety and depression, and I live with a brain injury and migraines and pain and fatigue and like all these things. Mindfulness and meditation have helped me learn how to create a life that's mine, a life that I love, a life that's honestly in a lot of ways better than, and in a lot of ways is better than what my life was like before getting hit by a bus. Now that might sound like, what are you talking about, right? Right? It must sound so hard to believe. Like, my life is better. Yeah, I shared this before. I teach mindfulness to brain injury survivors. So I'm part of a group. And I shared in that group that I don't love that this happened to me, but I wouldn't undo it. And that might sound surprising, but it's what led me to mindfulness and to meditation. I tried meditating before, but I could never do it because I couldn't silence my brain, right? And we always think that like I need to sit quietly and silently to meditate, but we don't really. And this is what I like about mindfulness. It's not about learning how to sit quietly for meditation. Like you will get distracted, we all do, and that's fine. It's about learning how not to judge yourself for getting distracted. But it helped me to get out of my head. And I say this all the time. But I was shy. I couldn't talk to people. And during my mindfulness trainings, I trained through the University of Massachusetts Center for Mindfulness. They have a teacher training pathway for the mindfulness-based stress reduction program. I took that as a student after my accident and loved it and was like, I need to teach this. During my training, I went to the States for different periods of time to like kind of immerse myself in the practice, the training, and to become a teacher. On my second trip there, I was talking to people and I mentioned being shy, and someone was like, if you hadn't have said that, I would never have thought that you were shy. And I was like, I know, because now I can talk to people. And that's why I meditate, because it gets me like out of all of this thinking and to be in this moment. On that trip, my mom would come with me because it was shortly after recovering from the accident and I was traveling to a different country. And, you know, she was my nurse through that period. So she got a vacation. She got to know that I was okay and I got to do my training. And I was doing a lot of this in the winter. I'm in Toronto and our winters can be brutal. And this part was in Florida. So yeah, I was going to Florida. I had to pay for my room anyways, so she would come and she would stay with me. And she got to relax by the pool in Florida after taking care of me for over 2 years after being hit by a bus. And so this one took place near her birthday, which is the beginning of April. And so as part of like as part of our vacation, we stayed a little bit longer, and she and I did what's called a jungle river cruise. And we're on this cruise, like this boat. We were on a river boat, and they served dinner. And the way it was set up is there was these massive picnic tables, and it's like communal dining. So we would sit next to people we didn't know. We're sitting, you have to share like the food, something that probably wouldn't happen right now. And at one point during dinner, I turned to the woman sitting next to me. I was like, hi, I'm Charlene. I'm from Toronto. Where are you from? And my mom almost fell out of her chair. She's like, showing after, she's like, I was thinking, who is this? this is not my daughter. My daughter who wouldn't talk to people, and now she's striking up conversations, right? This is why I meditate, because I was always so consumed second guessing and doubting myself that I would be too afraid to have this conversation with this woman. I'd be caught up in wondering, like, is this gonna be sounds stupid? Maybe I shouldn't say this. That I wouldn't say, like, I wouldn't talk to friends. I wouldn't like. I struggle with talking to a waiter. Like the waiter cares, right? Like by the time he leaves my table, he's forgotten about me. But I was too concerned about like, oh no, and I don't want to do this. And what if I'm like all the things? But meditating and mindfulness meditation in particular got me out of that. And as I've shared, like I now travel, I have my own business, I teach workshops, like I do all these things that I thought were inaccessible to me because of my shyness and my anxiety. And this is why I meditate. It helped me so much with the big things, but it helps me with the little things too. Meditating and meditating daily helps me to, notice when I'm starting to get helps me to notice when I'm starting to get off balance, and it helps me to course correct and to adjust. And it helps me to notice when, that my inner monologue starts to drift towards fear and doubts, right? Starting a YouTube channel is something that I thought about doing before and never did. Um, I would worry about like, oh, what if, and like, right? But these are thoughts. Meditating helps me to notice, like, oh, you're starting to overthink things again. Oh, time to, breathe and come back. It helps me to manage my daily anxiety. It helps me to manage my depression. It helps me to notice when like things are feeling really tough right now. I need to take care of myself a little bit more. And maybe that involves I'm in therapy. Maybe it involves seeing my therapist on a more frequent basis. At a few different points, it involved being like, this isn't enough. I went on antidepressants twice during my recovery period. Helps me to notice, right? Okay, this feels great. This doesn't feel so good. I've had to a regular meditation practice helped me to recognize when I needed boundaries and helped me to feel strong enough in myself to put them up and to stick to them because boundaries aren't easy, especially if you've never had them before. Boundaries with people, boundaries around different like things around for me in particular, my schedule and my energy. That's where my boundaries really show up because I have to, because I'm negatively affected by overworking myself because of the brain injury. But I didn't know I could set boundaries until I started meditating and really being because meditating gets you out of your head, right? Really being sure of myself and being like, oh wait, no, this doesn't work for me. Oh, every time I do this, I end up with migraines. So maybe I stop doing this. Every time I'm in a crowded situation, every time I hang out with this person, I feel really crummy afterwards. Every time I hang out with this person, I feel energized and I feel really good. If I speak on the phone for an hour and a half, and this is because of the brain injury, that's starting to hit my wall and I need to start to wrap up the call. And it helps me to, like, another way of putting out boundaries is to tell people, I'm getting tired right now. It's time to wrap up. My one friend, Lindsay, she really gets it. And we'll be on the phone for hours. And when it starts to hit my max, I'm like, oh, I'm getting tired. And she's like, yep, I'm starting to hear it because that's the brain injury and it comes out when I'm tired. And so we wrap up the call, and I'm not worried that she's like judging me about it because she's not. And I'm not beating myself up for being like, you know what, I need to wrap up this call. It helps in so many things. It's not just the time spent on the cushion. The time spent on the cushion is there because meditating is not easy. Sitting for 10, 15, 20, however long, it's not an easy thing to do. We do it because it teaches us how to sit in discomfort, to be uncomfortable, because we don't like to, we distract ourselves. So we're not being with discomfort or being uncomfortable. helps us to learn how to do it so that when we're out in the world, when you're out doing something that makes you feel discomfort, you know how to be okay with it, right? So, like being stuck in traffic, not fun. But because you've been meditating for a while, now when it happens, you're like, oh, all right, I'm just stuck in traffic. And it's no big deal. Versus before meditating, when you're stuck in traffic, and then you're like, now the judgments are coming up about being stuck in traffic, and you're complaining about it, and then you get out of the traffic and you're still, you know, mentally complaining about it or verbalizing it and yelling at all the drivers, and you come into work and you're still pissed off about it, right? But meditating regularly helps you to be like, oh, this is just traffic. No big deal. I'll be all right. You feel more calm, relaxed, at ease through everything that comes up. If something happens, you know how to meet it because you've done it before. And that's why I meditate. It's helped me navigate so many things. My fourth surgery was a fourth neurosurgery to put in my prosthesis. So this piece right here is plastic. And I was so relaxed waiting for it. Like I got to the hospital, it had to get delayed a little because, an emergency happened. My neurosurgeon needed to take care of something else. And I was just like, all right. I took a nap. I took a nap waiting for neurosurgery. It really helped that then one of the nurses, they had this like vacuum type thing. This is not what it is, and it blew warm air under my blanket. I was out like a light. Now, I was the kind of person as a kid, adult, I didn't like needles. And as a kid, I would scream through them. As an adult, I wouldn't scream because I'm an adult. But I still didn't like them. And like surgery, you're getting the IV, you're getting all these needles, and like I'm fine. My last surgery, I was cracking jokes in the OR because she was having a hard time finding a vein because I have terrible veins, which is a judgment. But I have small veins and they collapse fairly easily, unfortunately. I was cracking jokes in the OR, on the table. Like I could see people getting ready around me, and all of my surgeries have been around here. So like they're not fun. But yeah, I was so relaxed because I meditate regularly. And because when I get nervous, when I'm in these situations, I know how to just breathe my way through it. So that is why I meditate. And that is why I teach meditations and I teach people how to manage these difficult and challenging moments, to meet them with grace. And I hope you like this video, and I invite you to subscribe to my channel so you can be notified when a new video is uploaded. Till next time, bye.